Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2006 Saab 92X. Up front is a 2.5 liter flat 4, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Saab 92 for two reasons. First of all, I have declared 2025 the year of the Saab. And so I'm trying to review as many Saabs as I can, and this might be one of the weirdest. The second reason is the fact that I think this is one of the weirdest Saabs ever made, because it's not really a Saab. It's really a GM. It's not really a GM though, it's really a Subaru. And so we'll get into all of that a little bit later on. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit, especially if you have a Saab product. You can also see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance by heading on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 2.5 liter flat 4 under the hood. Well, that is actually a Subaru Boxer engine. So let's take a step back here. In the 2000s, Saab was owned by GM. They had been purchased by GM in the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't remember the date off the top of my head, but it's up on screen now. So GM purchased Saab and was built under the GM umbrella. But during this time, for a very brief amount of time, GM also owned Subaru. They rebadged the Forester in foreign markets as a Chevy product. And some Subarus in the early 2000s got OnStar, which is a GM roadside assistance service. In that relationship and ownership, they wanted to build a Saab wagon, so they looked at their other subsidiary, Subaru, and made it so. So under the skin, this is a Subaru Impreza station wagon. If you pop the door, it even says Fuji Heavy Industry, which is Subaru. And we'll talk about a lot of the things that go with that later on, but the biggest thing is that engine. This is the 2.5 liter flat 4 that you would have seen in the Impreza or Forester. And this engine was not shared with any other Saab product, meaning if you took this to a Saab dealership, they'd sometimes scratch their head because it was very foreign to them. Not only is it not a Saab engine, it's also a flat Boxer engine, meaning the pistons go outward instead of up and down. It's arranged in a very strange way and makes a strange sound. Something you want to look out for with these is the head gasket and the water pumps tend to go bad. So this vehicle has had those replaced, but that's something to make note of. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission, again, a Subaru unit, and it's fine, it does the job, nothing really too crazy, and last but not least, it is all-wheel drive, using Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system. So how does it feel to drive the Saab 92X? Well, would you be surprised if I said that it drove like a Subaru? I don't think you would, but that's the truth. It has that grumble and lack of low-end torque of a Subaru. It has the incredible all-wheel drive system. It's easy to see out of, and it does ride a little rough, much like a Subaru. So if you like Subarus, you'll like this. If you like the more plush, more comfy rides that a lot of Saab products tend to have, well, you're going to want to look elsewhere. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is my fuel and coolant temperature. In the center is the speedometer, and off to the right is the tachometer. On the steering wheel, we do get the Saab logo, which I can only imagine is hastily pasted over the Subaru badge that would normally go there. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent and our windshield wiper defrosters. And moving out of the door, we have the latch to get in and out, power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do get a little digital clock, 2 climate vents with the hazard switch, an aftermarket radio because pretty much any radio from this era doesn't keep up with modern tech, so it's been swapped out. Climate controls, temperature off to the left, fan speed in the center, where to send it off to the right, a little 12-volt outlet as well as ashtray, and the shifter, again, very, very Subaru shifter here. Here is a similar year Impreza shifter. Here's a similar year Saab shifter. You can tell the difference. This is not from the GM parts bin. This is from the Subaru Fuji Heavy Industries parts bin that was all the way across the world. Down below, we do have heated seats and cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Saab 92X, and unfortunately it fails, but most Subarus from this era do. We do get a tiny center console and the seats. Now, the seats are this sort of cloth. They're not like super cheap feeling, but Subarus of this era never had really expensive or really nice feeling seats, and Saabs did. So that is another way that this feels more Subaru than Saab, with its very basic seats. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. One of the unfortunate downsides, as I jam my big stupid foot back here, of Subarus of the era, it's not good back seats. Now, the Saabs that I've tested have had pretty good back seats for the era. This pulls, again, from the Subaru side of the agreement. Not very great back here. I don't get any amenities. I don't even get vents. I don't get a fold down center console. I get nothing. I get a small amount of space, and I'm told to deal with it. And I'm trying my best to deal with it, man. But that's okay. We put our sunglasses on and forget about our problems to drive another Subaru, or Sabaru. Sabaru? Sabaru. Let's talk about the trunk and cargo space. All right, around the back of the Saab 92X. Do have a handle in here, pull it up, and there is the rear cargo space. Nothing really too crazy to write home about back here. We can flip this up for a little bit of storage there. Pull this up for some spare tire storage down there. And we do have some tethers and things like that. Again, nothing really too crazy, nothing out of this world. Very standard for Subaru owners, but this might have been a little bit of a shock for any Saab owners of the era. I mean, it's just wild to think that this shared a showroom with the 9.5 and the 9.3 and even the 9.7X, which was also a weird crossover, not Saab. Very strange at the time. I would love to take a time machine back to a Saab showroom in 2006. I think that would be quite interesting, and this would be on the floor. Very cool. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this is where things get even more interesting. Up at the front, you say, yeah, that's a Saab. And it honestly looks like a Saab 9.3. Not a whole lot of difference going on there. But then you get around the back and you go, oh yeah, that's the rear end of a Subaru. It's this really weird mishmash, and what has given this car the Sabaru nickname, because it is half and half. And that's very clear with the looks. If you only saw it from one end, you would only get one half of the story. You have to do a full walk around like we are now to understand the true glory and magnificence of the Subaru. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the 2006 Saab 92X? Well, I find this car incredibly interesting because it's almost a story of two star-crossed lovers that you never would have suspected got together at the end of the movie or book. Subaru and Saab, to my knowledge, have never collaborated on anything but this vehicle before this or since this, with Saab going out of business in the 2010s. It's just so weird. And honestly, I was hoping that it would pull more from each camp. You know, maybe the seats of a Saab, the plushness of the Saab. Maybe I was hoping that this would get the night panel feature that Saab has, but this is all Subaru. This is the group project where one person did 99% of the work, and that other person signed their name at the top and offered to do part of the presentation to make up for the lack of legwork at the beginning. This car was not pulled equal weight from either side, but then again, you look at it and you think this is a Saab. And so maybe this is a great metaphor for don't judge a book by its cover. Maybe under all of this Swedish lipstick is a Japanese powerhouse. Maybe it's a lesson in the fact that we shouldn't judge a car based off the badge at the front, Maybe it's a lesson in the fact that two completely opposite countries in different parts of the world can come together to make something good. Maybe your neighbor with a different background and culture could bring something tasty to the cookout. Maybe two different cultures can clash in harmony. Maybe it's good when your favorite company outsources to another. There's a lot to learn through cars. There's a lot of things that cars teach us, not only about the automotive world, but about the bigger world around us. And that's how this car feels to drive. It's a cultural lesson. It's a lesson of patience. It's a lesson of acceptance. And that's why this car will always be special. It's a little of this, it's a little of that, but it's a lot to love. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Robbie for letting me borrow his SUBARU here today. Robbie has not only been a very good friend to me over the years, he has been a mentor here in the automotive space. He was the one that got me into press cars and talking to manufacturers. I owe a lot of my success to my good friend Robbie, and I am very, very appreciative of him. He's wonderful, and he drives a SUBARU, so it makes him pretty cool as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.